Have you ever wondered why some gardens seem almost untouched by pests, while others are constantly under attack? Many gardeners spend hundreds of dollars every year on sprays, traps, and chemical treatments, only to watch aphids, whiteflies, spider mites, and caterpillars return a few weeks later. But what if the most effective pest control wasn't something you sprayed? What if it was something you planted? Scientists have discovered that certain plants naturally produce powerful chemical compounds that insects simply cannot tolerate. These compounds have been studied for decades, and in some cases, they have even inspired commercial insecticides used around the world. Today, we're counting down 7 remarkable plants that naturally help repel garden pests. This isn't based on folklore or old gardening myths. Every plant on this list has been studied for the unique chemicals it produces and how those chemicals affect insects. Along the way, you'll also learn the biggest mistakes gardeners make when using these plants and how to get the best results from them. Stay until the end because the final plant is so powerful that its natural compounds are extracted and sold commercially as insecticides. Chances are, you've used its chemistry before without even realizing it. Let's get started. Number 7. Mint. Mint is famous for its refreshing scent, but to many insects, that same aroma is anything but pleasant. For centuries, people have planted mint around homes, food storage areas, and gardens because they noticed it discouraged unwanted insects. Modern science has finally explained why. Mint produces several volatile compounds, including menthol, pulgone, menthone, and carvone. These chemicals interfere with how many insects detect food and communicate with one another. One particularly interesting discovery involves ants. Ants rely heavily on pheromone trails to guide thousands of workers toward food sources. Research has shown that the strong scent released by mint can disrupt these chemical trails, making it much harder for ants to organize their colonies and recruit more workers. Studies have also found that mint oils can repel aphids, flea beetles, whiteflies, and spider mites. The biggest mistake gardeners make is planting mint directly into their vegetable beds. Mint spreads aggressively through underground runners and can quickly take over an entire garden. Experienced gardeners usually grow mint in containers placed beside vulnerable crops. This allows the plant to release its protective aroma without becoming a problem itself. Regular harvesting also helps. Every time you trim mint, the plant produces fresh growth, releasing another wave of aromatic compounds into the surrounding air. So not only do you get fresh herbs for tea and cooking, but you also keep the plant working harder as a natural pest deterrent. Before we move on, if you're enjoying this video and learning something new, take a second to subscribe. Every week we explore the fascinating science behind plants, natural gardening, and practical ways to grow healthier food with less effort. If that sounds interesting, we'd love to have you join us. Now, if mint surprised you, the next plant is even more impressive because it's probably already growing in your kitchen. Number 6. Basil. Most people grow basil for its incredible flavor. But researchers have discovered that basil is also a sophisticated chemical defense system. Its leaves produce a blend of natural compounds including linalool, eugenol, estragol, and cineol. These chemicals are responsible for basil's unmistakable aroma, but they also interfere with how insects locate host plants. Instead of easily finding your tomatoes or peppers, pests become confused by the cloud of volatile compounds surrounding nearby basil plants. Studies have shown that linalool can reduce the activity of aphids, thrips, and spider mites, while eugenol has demonstrated insecticidal effects against certain pest species. Some research has even shown basil essential oil providing significant repellency against mosquitoes. However, basil only performs well as a companion plant when it's actively growing. This is where many gardeners unknowingly reduce its effectiveness. Once basil begins flowering, its energy shifts from producing leaves to producing seeds. As this happens, the chemical profile of the plant changes, reducing the concentration of the aromatic compounds responsible for much of its pest deterrence. The solution is simple. Pinch off the flower spikes as soon as they appear. Doing this keeps basil producing fresh leaves, increases harvests, and maintains high levels of protective volatile compounds throughout the growing season. It's one small gardening habit that provides two rewards at once: more herbs for your kitchen and better natural protection for nearby vegetables. But our next plant protects gardens in an entirely different way. Instead of confusing insects in the air, it releases powerful compounds directly into the soil, protecting plants below the surface where most gardeners never think to look. Number 5. Marigold. Walk through almost any vegetable garden, and you'll probably see marigolds growing around the edges. Most gardeners know they're supposed to help repel pests. What many don't know is that where you plant them matters just as much as planting them at all. Research has shown that marigolds work best when they're scattered throughout the vegetable bed rather than planted only as a decorative border. The reason comes down to chemistry. Marigolds produce sulfur-containing compounds called thiophene. These natural chemicals are found in the roots, stems, leaves, and flowers, and they're especially effective against one of the most destructive underground pests in gardening, the root knot nematode. Root knot nematodes attack plant roots, causing swollen galls that reduce water and nutrient uptake. Tomatoes, peppers, carrots, and many other vegetables can suffer severe damage before gardeners even realize there's a problem. Studies have found that densely planting certain marigold varieties for an entire growing season can significantly reduce nematode populations in the soil. In other words, marigolds don't just help protect this year's crop. They can improve the soil for next year's garden as well. Above ground, marigolds release aromatic compounds that interfere with how insects locate their preferred host plants. Whiteflies, aphids, and thrips rely on visual and chemical signals to find food. Marigolds make the job much harder. They also attract beneficial insects such as hoverflies and parasitic wasps, both of which naturally feed on common garden pests. If you only remember one thing about marigolds, remember this: don't plant them around your garden. Plant them throughout your garden. That simple change can dramatically improve how well they perform. Now let's move to another plant that many people think of only as a cooking herb. In reality, it's been protecting gardens for centuries. Number 4. Rosemary. Rosemary has been valued since ancient times for its fragrance. Long before scientists understood its chemistry, people burned rosemary inside homes to discourage insects and placed it around stored food to reduce pest problems. Today we know exactly why it worked. Rosemary produces several powerful volatile compounds, including cineol, camphor, alpha-pinene, and borneol. These natural chemicals interfere with insects' ability to locate food, recognize host plants, and navigate their surroundings. Research has demonstrated that rosemary essential oil can repel aphids, whiteflies, thrips, spider mites, and even the larvae of certain moth species. One of its biggest advantages is that rosemary is evergreen in many climates. While annual companion plants disappear at the end of the season, rosemary continues releasing protective compounds year-round. Here's another interesting trick. Freshly pruned rosemary releases an even stronger burst of aromatic oils. Some experienced gardeners scatter fresh rosemary clippings around newly transplanted vegetables, creating a temporary wave of concentrated scent that helps discourage insects during one of the plant's most vulnerable stages. Growing rosemary successfully is surprisingly simple. Give it full sun, excellent drainage, and avoid overwatering. The healthier the plant becomes, the more aromatic compounds it produces. It's one of the few herbs where growing a larger plant directly increases its value as a natural pest deterrent. But the next plant may be even more effective because its main active ingredient is already used in commercial natural insect repellents around the world. Number 3. Lemongrass. The fresh citrus scent of lemongrass is instantly recognizable to people. To insects, however, it sends a completely different message. The secret lies in a compound called citral. Citral is actually a mixture of two closely related natural chemicals that have been extensively studied for their ability to repel insects. Lemongrass also produces geraniol and myrcene, creating a powerful blend of volatile compounds that confuse many common garden pests. Researchers have found these compounds effective against mosquitoes, aphids, spider mites, thrips, and several species of whiteflies. Many commercial natural insect repellents use compounds derived from the same chemistry found naturally inside lemongrass. Yet most gardeners make one simple mistake. They grow lemongrass on the patio because it looks attractive, while their vegetable beds sit 20 or 30 feet away. Unfortunately, the protective compounds don't travel very far. For the best results, lemongrass should be planted close to the vegetables you're trying to protect. Positioning it within several feet of tomatoes, peppers, or cucumbers allows the aromatic compounds to drift directly through the growing area. Warm weather also increases its effectiveness. The hotter and sunnier the conditions, the more essential oils the plant produces. That makes lemongrass especially valuable during summer, when insect populations are often at their highest. So far we've looked at plants that repel pests by making your garden smell confusing or unpleasant. But the final two plants work in completely different ways. One actually attracts pests on purpose to protect your vegetables. The other produces the same natural compounds that inspired one of the world's most widely used botanical insecticides. Number 2. Nasturtium. At first glance, nasturtiums seem like an unusual choice for pest control. Their bright orange, yellow, and red flowers look more decorative than defensive. But this plant has one of the smartest survival strategies found anywhere in the garden. Instead of trying to repel every insect, nasturtiums deliberately attract some of them. This is known as trap cropping, and it's a technique that has been studied and used by farmers for decades. Here's how it works. Aphids are highly attracted to nasturtiums. In many cases, they will choose nasturtiums over nearby vegetables like beans, peppers, or cabbage. Rather than allowing aphids to spread across your entire garden, the nasturtiums concentrate them into one easy-to-monitor location. Once the aphids gather there, you can simply spray them off with water, remove the affected leaves, or let beneficial insects like ladybugs do the work for you. It's a much easier problem to manage when it's happening on one sacrificial plant instead of 20 vegetable plants. But nasturtiums don't just attract pests. Scientists have found that damaged leaves release compounds called glucosinolates. When these compounds break down, they form chemicals known as isothiocyanates. These natural compounds help repel whiteflies, squash bugs, and several other soft-bodied insects. That means nasturtiums perform two jobs at once. They attract certain pests away from valuable crops while discouraging others from settling nearby. It's a remarkably efficient natural defense system. To make this strategy work, placement is important. Instead of planting nasturtiums directly among your vegetables, position them a few feet away from the main crop. This encourages aphids to settle on the trap crop first, reducing the chance they'll spread into your tomatoes or peppers. Another bonus is that nasturtium flowers attract bees and other pollinators, while the leaves and flowers themselves are completely edible. They have a peppery flavor that's often compared to watercress and make a colorful addition to salads. It's a beautiful plant that protects your garden, supports pollinators, and even ends up on your dinner plate. Now we've reached the final plant on today's countdown. This one is different from everything else we've covered. In fact, the natural chemicals it produces became so effective that scientists turned them into one of the world's most widely used botanical insecticides. Number 1. Dalmatian chrysanthemum. When most people hear the word chrysanthemum, they think of colorful flowers decorating front porches every autumn. Few realize that one particular species has changed agriculture around the world. The Dalmatian chrysanthemum produces a group of natural compounds called pyrethrins. These compounds attack the nervous systems of insects, causing paralysis and eventually death. Unlike many synthetic pesticides, pyrethrins break down rapidly in sunlight and don't remain in the environment for long periods. That's one reason they're widely used in organic farming and integrated pest management programs. Today, pyrethrins are extracted from chrysanthemum flowers and used in hundreds of commercial insecticide products sold around the world. The flower itself became the blueprint for an entire industry. Research has shown that pyrethrins are highly effective against aphids, whiteflies, thrips, caterpillars, beetles, fungus gnats, and many other common garden pests. Even before insects make direct contact with the plant, the flowers can discourage feeding because many pests detect the chemical compounds and avoid landing altogether. However, there's one important detail. Not every chrysanthemum contains high levels of pyrethrins. The ornamental varieties commonly sold for landscaping have often been bred for larger flowers and brighter colors, not for chemical production. If your goal is natural pest control, look specifically for the Dalmatian chrysanthemum. Researchers have also found that pyrethrin concentrations are highest when the flowers have just fully opened. That's when the plant is producing its strongest natural chemical defenses. Some gardeners even dry the flowers to prepare homemade botanical sprays, although these should always be used carefully. Pyrethrins are much safer for the environment than many synthetic pesticides, but they can still harm beneficial insects if sprayed directly on them. The safest approach is to apply any homemade spray early in the morning or late in the evening when bees and butterflies are less active. What makes this plant so fascinating is that you're not simply growing another flower. You're growing the original source of one of the most successful natural insecticides ever discovered. It reminds us that nature developed these remarkable chemical defenses millions of years before scientists began studying them. And we're still learning from them today. As you've seen, these 7 plants all protect gardens in different ways. Some release aromatic compounds that confuse insects. Some improve the health of the soil beneath your feet. Some attract beneficial insects that hunt pests for you. Others lure destructive insects away from valuable crops. And one produces the same natural compounds used in commercial botanical insecticides. The real secret isn't relying on just one of these plants. It's combining them. A few pots of mint. Basil growing beside tomatoes. Marigolds woven throughout your vegetable beds. Rosemary near your peppers. Lemongrass protecting vulnerable crops. Nasturtiums acting as a trap crop. And Dalmatian chrysanthemums providing another layer of natural defense. Together, they create a healthier, more balanced garden that works with nature instead of constantly fighting against it. If you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos where we explore the science behind plants, gardening, and natural solutions backed by real research. Now I'd love to hear from you. Which garden pest causes you the most trouble every year? Is it aphids, whiteflies, spider mites, caterpillars, or something else entirely? Leave your answer in the comments below. Your experience might help another gardener solve the same problem. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.